people asked it to me ahead of time, but then I realized just about everybody was gonna ask me this question, so I just decided we would do it together today. So it says there's a rectangle yard that you have side lengths and an area. So the important thing here is it mentions the word area. So it's telling us we're gonna have to find the area of the rectangle. And I think that was probably the biggest difficulty, was a lot of you either don't remember how to find the area of a rectangle, or maybe you haven't learned it yet. I know that's gonna be part of geometry for sure. The area of a rectangle is length times width. Now, it does not matter what you call those sides. The area of a rectangle is just multiplying the two sides. Yeah, it doesn't matter which one you call length, width, whatever. So if our rectangle is 2x plus 1 and x plus 1, well, then I'll write those in there. So I'm gonna have 2x plus 1 and x plus 1. Daniela, what is the area of the yard? It tells us what the area of the yard is. 252. So I'm gonna write that in there. Like it gives us all the information to find the answer. And it's not like the answer is gonna be very simple to get, but it gives us the information. What we're gonna have to do is make this equal to 0. But the issue is I can't combine the 252 with those parentheses. So the first thing I actually have to do is multiply them out, like from a couple units ago. So 2x times x, 2x, 2x times 1. Come on. 1 times x, 1 times 1. So I had to FOIL these out, like distribute these out, so that they were in individual parts rather than parentheses. And then I need it equal to 0 to solve. So I'm gonna minus 252 from both sides. Really? What do we get when we put these two together? So we don't have to write them separately, we can put them together.
You just wrote it down there.
I did. I didn't write the,
Can you move?
do you want me to scroll down?
2x to the power 2.
Did you say power of 10? Or 3? So we've got 2 of the x's and 1 of the x's. If we were to put them together, we'd have 3.
Whatever you say,
Now, you have to put together the 2 and the 1, because when I write it like this, I have an A, a B, and a C. Dasha, how would we solve this? What would we use to solve it?
I know.
So are you saying to factor? Factoring would work. We don't have to, but factoring would work.
The quadratic formula.
Quadratic formula would work. That would probably be a semi-decent one. Do you guys remember a third option? No. I know that's written up there, but that's not for solving.
Absolute value.
Vertex form wouldn't find us answers either, actually.
Okay.
Graphing on Desmos. Graphing on Desmos would be a third option. The question right above this one tells you all the different methods you can use to solve. Graphing, quadratic formula, factoring, or algebraically, which we can't do because it's got A, B, and C. Yeah.
Are we gonna get like these like quadratic formula axes in the tree?
This is what's gonna be on the board tomorrow.
Got it, thank you.
That's what you're asking?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, here's the answers to the review. Let's go through all of them. Let's go to the first problem. So I'm assuming this went pretty good. It was on the last test, and a lot of people asked me questions on it, so I'm thinking it went pretty good for the first question. The main issue is how you write your answers. Because some people were writing their answers differently, which makes it a different kind of answer. We're going over the answers now.
If I wrote x equals -3 and 1, is that still right?
Oh, yeah, you can have them in the other order. The thing that a lot of people were doing wrong on number 4 is they were writing the two numbers in a parentheses, so it would look like a point. So you can have the orders in whichever number you want, as long as they're separate. Okay, do you guys want me to, put your phones away.
Yeah, guys.
Do you guys want me to go over anything from up here?
Alright.
Okay, next question. These are the 4 that you had to solve algebraically.
On 5 guys round up. On 5 guys round up.
Yeah. In the directions it said round to the 100th, so I did that for this, but I'm fine if you went to the 10th, or is that what you're asking? Yeah, that's fine. This is the section where I would expect the most errors out of any, especially question 8. And I can do number 8 with you if we need to. Yeah,
How was I supposed to get 2 answers on 6?
every one of these should have 2 answers, because when you do the square root,
But number 5
it
doesn't.
should have a plus or minus. Number 5 does have 2 answers, plus or minus is 2 numbers.
Okay.
Okay, so instead of doing on number 6, x equals 0 point or whatever, I could just say plus or minus?
No.
Okay.
So as soon as you do the square root to cancel off that square. As soon as you do the square root symbol, the next line should have a plus or minus.
So anything that's like, quadratic equations, it should have 2 answers?
Can have 2 answers.
So like I should just always put 2 answers? Just to make sure.
No, I mean, like, we're gonna have all sorts of different kind of questions. It's not, like, vertex form doesn't have 2 answers, even though those are quadratic. I mean, like, I'd like to give you a nice easy answer, like say, yes, it's always 2 answers, but it's not.
Okay.
What's the one?
I don't know.
Check.
Number 8. The biggest issue everybody had with number 8 is what order to do it. Hey, focus. On number 8, the reason I chose the 12 first is because the minus 12 is on everything. But like, some people wanted to divide by 3 first. That 3 is only on the parentheses, the 3 is not on the 12. So the item that you choose to get rid of has to be on everything. And that's kind of how you choose the order. So I chose the minus 12 first because it's subtracted on all of it. Then once that was gone, I got rid of the 3 because the 3 was on everything else. Then the squared, I had to get rid of the squared because the squared was on the whole parentheses. And I needed the parentheses gone to be able to get to the 1 on the inside. In general, you cancel off the items that are the farthest away from the x towards the inside. But it's not always,
Can you say that again?
you generally cancel the things that are the farthest away first. And that's not every single time, it's just in general. Okay, should I go down to the next one, or do you guys want me to explain one of the other ones, anything about them?
Next one.
Okay? So this was completing the square. This was one of the new topics. They're very easy when you know what to do. If you don't know what to do, they look strange. How come we're not checking our answers?
I am, I'm
I'm
doing
checking
that.
my
Like, I
answers,
don't wanna
look.
crap.
Even if you don't have a question done,
I got this one.
write down the answer so you can check it when you try it later.
I got it.
Yes, so on these completing the square problems, there'll be two answers. One number that completes the square, that's the 25, and then there'll be one that you can write it as a binomial squared, like a perfect square.
No, he doesn't.
Can you see what he said?
Hey, I need you guys to go outside if you can't handle being in here while we go over the answers.
I'm handling it.
I am being nice and asking you to stop, but you guys are not stopping. And I don't want to have to go further. Like, I would like to be able to go over the answers with everybody else who can't hear because you guys keep talking. Okay, vertex form. This was another one of the new topics. Number 12 definitely had a lot more work. If you're having trouble seeing the answer key, by the way, I attached it to the assignment in Schoology. So the answer key is in Schoology, so you can always open it up in there and zoom in and whatever. Actually, do you need me to shut the shades? No? Okay.
Would it be wrong if we just wrote the vertex one, or just the vertex?
It would be wrong if you just wrote the vertex. So on the test, I'm gonna ask you for the vertex form, which means the equation. You don't have to directly write the vertex, but most people will. That's kind of why I only highlighted the equation answer.
Move on to the next one. The next one.
Yeah, I will. People are still copying it down, so I was waiting. Is what?
Where did you get 17 from? Oh.
That's when you were outside. You left when we started doing it together. I had the answer come up here. Okay, here's the next two. So solve by quadratic formula is from the last test. I'm gonna keep that up on the board for you guys. That's the one in red. Question number 14 said you can solve it any way you want. So on number 14, I did it every way so that you guys could check the way that you tried to solve it. I'm guessing most of you probably did it with quadratic formula. But they would all have the same answer no matter which way you solved it. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to fit both. There we go. Now, you guys are gonna be allowed to use Desmos graphing calculator and everything tomorrow. And so I just want you guys to have access to any way of solving. The goal is for you to be able to figure out answers on your own. But like I said, I find that most Algebra 1 students like quadratic formula the best because even though it's not small, it's got a lot of steps, it's always exactly the same. And that's kind of nice.
Or you get the same answer.
Now, if you're trying to copy down the steps, like the parts that you got wrong, and I'm going too fast for you up here, that's why I was trying to mention that I did put the answer key in Schoology. You could always just open it up and look at the steps after the fact too. Because I'm sure some people in the back can't read this, because I had to write really small to fit it in there. You guys want me to move down to the last question?
Here. Wait, I thought we already did the last question.
We started it, we didn't get an answer.
No, we did it right there.
Yeah, on the answer key, we have the answer. I didn't write the answer on the other one. On the other one, we stopped right here. So I did the quadratic formula to get my two answers. You can do it whatever way you want. But the important part is, you can't have a negative answer. Like, you can't have a negative length of a line. So quadratic formula gives you two answers, but you can only use a positive one. And that's why the directions say, find the value of x that makes sense. It has to be a positive answer. Yeah,
Like, would you care how we found it on that problem song if we got that in?
so like if you did factoring, I mean, probably couldn't do it with factoring. If you did it with a graph, that's fine. Which way did you do it? So plugging in numbers doesn't really work because you have to plug in decimal to get it to work. Is that kind of what you did?
Yeah, that.
Oh, so you just kept doing closer and closer until it worked? If you showed the steps up to there, I'd be fine with it. Now FYI, graphing it on the graphic calculator would be way less work. Okay, so let's call it there.